just a quick background for me, I've been a visual artist for over 30 years. I've been a curator for close to 15 and a workshop provider for healing for over 10 years. And Place of Our Own, what I'm going to do right now is just give you just a little bit of background, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to tell you about the journey these women just have been on for the last 6 months. Unbelievable. And then we're going to go right to them giving their talk about their process, their journey. And then we're going to, the second half of what we're doing, we invite you to stay, and we're going to open it up and try having an open conversation moderated by Ahran Lee, our co-host tonight, or today. So just really quickly in a nutshell, Place of Our Own began in 2009 as a curatorial idea I had for Asian American Women Artists Association. I was the board president and the curator at the time, and it was for the Dian Museum. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to ask women to create art that answers, if you had a place of your own, what would it be? And what I found out, it was actually pretty hard for them to answer. And I had no idea at that time how much trauma was being held by women in the Asian American community. And since then, we've grown Place to invite women of all colors and just women in general who need a way to move forward out of their pain. And then, so we have 7 artists today who are going to be able to present their artist talk. And with that being said, Ashleigh, can you go to the next slide?
Yes, just a second.
Thank you. God, it's so good to see you guys. So one of the things that we always make a practice of is honoring native land, and we encourage everybody to do this whenever you're doing any kind of presentation. And it's addressing the colonization that is still going on. So we wanted to make sure we acknowledge the original people of this land, and the people that came before us, but they're also still here. So this is not an exhaustive list. This is a general list, but Miwok, Ohlone, and Pomo in California. And then we've got Lumbee, because one of our students is Lumbee from North Carolina, and then Taino, also Puerto Rican, Borinquen. And we invite you to make sure you learn about the people that lived here before and say their names. Janet, who's one of our students, said whenever you say their name, it opens the heart up and helps people to remember them. So next slide. So one of the things that Place has always worked on, and this is from my heart, and that is the legacies handed down to us from colonization that is still ongoing. Violence, extreme discrimination, forced migration. We've been talking about this for over a decade, but of course today it's insane right now, and it's so synchronistic that we've got this program that addresses these things. But we work to uncover these things and actually have our women speak to it through their art. And we consider ourselves ancestral pattern shifters. And I would venture to say that probably every one of you on this call is also an ancestral pattern shifter. So if you've ever been somebody who upsets the family, asks questions that nobody else asks, or is bewildered why the world is operating it as it is, chances are you're an ancestral pattern shifter. You're on this planet to shake things up, and that's why we're here. Next slide, Ashleigh. So I really wanted to make sure to acknowledge organizations and people that have supported our rather unique vision. It's something that doesn't exist anywhere else that we know of, the way we do things, and wanted to thank like San Francisco Arts Commission and California Arts Council and Zellerbach. They've been by our side constantly. Do a Little Foundation and PABAC, Pacific Asian American Women Bay Area Coalition. And then for individuals who believed in us from the start, it takes a village to do this kind of work. We can't do it by ourselves, but Deborah Santana has been a big proponent for us. Avacha, Ravi Chandra, Irene and Sherry from AWA, they're helping with budget, operations, all kinds of things. Patricia Zamora, who gave us the partnership with Boys and Girls Club of San Francisco. And some very dear friends, Catherine and Antonio, that help us with our legal. So I need to thank them publicly. Next slide, Ashleigh. So we're welcome to today. This is the schedule we're gonna do. And I must introduce you to 3 people who are so important to this program. The first one is Ahran Lee. And Ahran is our co-host for today. She's in the lower left corner picture there. She was an alumni from 2018, and she's come back in so many ways. I mean, right now her title is Assistant Curator and Workshop Facilitator, but she's doing so much more than that. Then on the top right corner is Ashleigh Heinichen, who's actually managing the slides, let you in from the waiting room. She's helping us with our tech while she's getting her master's and hopefully PhD in positive psychology. She's also helping us with evaluation, which is so important for organizations like ours, but so hard to do because we don't fit any Western constructs. And then on the bottom right, you see a male, that's Cris Matos. He has been our photographer since 2009 when we started this. He's helped install every show. He helps the artist. He's the art instructor. He knows how to glue or attach anything to anything. He's my spiritual advisor for plays, and he's also the assistant curator. So today, I'm going to speak up to about 1:20, and then we're going to have the artists do their presentation. Then at 2:30, we're going to break and ask you to go get a cup of coffee and come back. And then at 2:40, we're going to open it up to have discussions. So while the artists are giving their presentation, if you don't mind writing any comments or questions the old-fashioned way, and then save them for the cup of tea or cup of coffee with us. Because the one thing we always do, we break bread, we eat together when we do the workshops. We eat all night when we're in place together. And that's just something I think brings us closer as a community. So we invite you to come back, eat your snack, drink your coffee, and let's share information together. Next slide. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, and hopefully everybody's comfortable with this, I'm going to take about 1 or 2 minutes just to do a quick grounding to bring us all into the space together. Place is a very spiritually held project. So right now, I would love if you could take the screen share down, Ashleigh. And if everyone would just take a deep breath in right now. At this time, and then breathe out any stress that you got, whether it's technology or anything that you got from today, just let it go out. And when you're comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes if you're comfortable with it. And take a deep breath in, honoring the work and the information that's coming for you today. And just let out again any of the stressors that came to you from this week. And start to see your roots. Start to see roots coming out of your hips and your legs, your knees, your joints, your feet, going into Mother Earth. And your roots easily are attracted to Mother Earth and the dirt. Deep breath. And it's a very calming space to be in. You're being held by something you're very much a part of. So the next time you take a deep breath in, feel the energy from each other in the room and the intention for why we're here and the gifts that you're about to receive and give back to us. So deep breath in with all of that. And then push out as you breathe out, push all the other negative anything, any kind of negative issues that have come up this week, this month, God knows, this year. And just give it to Mother Earth. Let it all roll out through your roots. And what we're going to ask you to do is also go up and vision the top of your head opening up. And as it opens up, you see up there, there's a gold pitcher of energy that is full of wisdom and community love amongst all of us. And we ask that you go ahead and pour that love that's actually yours. It's what you came to this planet with, and pour it down so it fills your body with this gold light, this liquid gold energy. And see it filling up all your body and pushing out anything that's not yours, anybody's energies that doesn't belong to you, so that you can be open today. And then let the rest of it carry anything that's not yours down through the roots. Any extra gold cleans off your roots into Mother Earth. And just sit for a minute. What would it be like if you were kind of just clear like this? And we do this so that you can get the nourishment and the information you need when we're sharing like this. So, breath. Start to come back into the room. Feel the chair that you're sitting on, your feet on the floor or on the bed, wherever they are. And open your eyes slowly. So thank you for doing that with us. So a couple housekeeping things. We turn your mics off and keep them off. The second half, again, you're going to be able to share. If for some reason you have to get up and move around a lot, if you could turn your camera off if you know how to do that. If you don't, it's okay. But we're trying to keep the focus on the artists. And so what you're about to listen to, experience, is the result of a 6-month weekly meetings. First, we did it online in San Francisco. I mean, we did it in person in San Francisco up through the middle of March. And then, of course, we went online to the unknown. And the women stayed. They all stayed with us. And we walked through all that stress together and have come through the other side. And it's been a very intense but very magical journey. And we just hope you'll enjoy this evening. So Ashleigh, next slide. So I'm going to give you just a general idea of what they had to go through over the last 6 months, just in a nutshell. I'm going to give you 6 months in 5 minutes. So the place of our own continuum basically is 4 phases. And it's like a stair step, or it's like a building of a house. So the first step is exploring and naming your hungry ghosts. And the hungry ghosts that we're using in Asian, broad definition in Asian cultures, is ancestors that are relentlessly wandering the earth with longing, and they're just insatiable, and there's pain, etc. So what we're using for hungry ghosts for in a place of our own is to refer to those things that cause you chronic heartache, negative thought patterns, and then, of course, tough family patterns. Those are all the hungry ghosts. And then the second phase, releasing those hungry ghosts. So once you name them, we start giving you little art tools that you can use to rethink how you look at your life and how you look at these hungry ghosts. Phase 3, claiming my place, is when we really start turning on the intuition and asking women to start considering their aspirations and answering the question, if you had a place of your own, what would it be? Not an easy question to answer, actually. And we're teaching them how to use found object art materials, just things they find around the house, which is perfect because they were sheltering in place. And we use that for artists and non-artists alike. So you don't have to be an artist to take this program, and we can help you create an amazing piece. And then the final phase, proclaiming, is where the women put their stake in the ground, where we usually have an exhibition, but this time we're having the artist talk. And you guys are very much a part of phase 4 because you are the witnesses of their journey, of their healing journey. So truly, truly thank you guys for being here for this, because you really are, you're making phase 4 happen for them. Next slide. So one of the main, the foundations of our program is looking at family patterns. So we require we won't kick you out if you don't do it, but we pretty much require people to create their family maps. And a lot of people of color can't go back very far, but that's okay. You know, we just say, do what you can. And then you put in your patterns of violence, domestic violence, alcoholism, drug addiction, anything you can name. And somehow putting it on paper tends to diffuse the emotional ooze of it. Next slide. And then besides doing it yourself, then we have you present it to your classmates or the other women in the room. Of course, we have a really safe space, safe container for this. But then being witnessed, having your trauma witnessed by other non-judgmental people somehow shifts something in you that you're able to start to see higher perspective, I guess, for lack of a better term. Next slide.
Cynthia, can I say something about that?
Sure, please do. Please do.
So, yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Ahran. I'm the assistant curator and facilitator that I'm a host. And what I wanted to add was initially when we introduced the concept of the hungry ghost, the word ghost can conjure a certain kind of feeling. It's usually a negative feeling, which is okay. What we want to emphasize to the women who come into place is the hungry ghost is not your enemy. It can initially feel that way because we are asking you to confront something that you haven't been able to before. You're starting to see things bubble up for you. And with that kind of reckoning, it can feel as if those hungry ghosts are there to hurt you, to make you feel afraid, to shrink. But as we do these workshops and do the deeper work, those hungry ghosts start to become friendly. They become your muses. And I think that's what Cynthia is about to explain here.
The compassion and forgiveness is what starts to grow. We've seen it year after year. What grows out of you defining your hungry ghosts and defining the family patterns, you start to have compassion and forgiveness for people who you feel have hurt you or destroyed you. And that compassion and forgiveness is basically the root rock of healing. You have to have that over time. And I know it's not easy. We've been struggling with it, but next slide, Ashleigh. So one of the things we do, or actually many of the things we do, we offer tools to start gaining perspective over all the things that drive you crazy. And one of the basic ones is the chakras. We don't dive deep academically into chakras. We just talk about the bare minimum that you need to know so you can begin to find ways to heal where it hurts in your body. And these are energy centers in your body, like your fourth chakra is your heart chakra. Where I had you open up the top of your head, that's your seventh chakra. That's the line into your intuition. And what you see on this table here, these women, they all have cards, and the cards are coordinated with the color of the chakra. They decorate it. They can write on the back. It's like cheat notes almost. Next slide, Ashleigh. And so one of the examples is one of Ahran's cards there. She's got it. That's her first chakra. Yeah. Do you want to say anything about it?
Yeah. So the chakra cards are basically a very practical tool where we teach women how to access their physical body. As often, I think for women and girls, we are given so many implicit and explicit messages that our body isn't ours. So the way we cope with that is we don't occupy our bodies, we're detached. So we're bringing women back into their most holy tool, which is their bodies. And the way to do that within place is we implement the chakra cards. And so each of those parts of our body holds a certain kind of trauma or holds a certain kind of emotion. And with the chakras, we can kind of pinpoint what exactly that feeling is, because sometimes those feelings and emotions are so fluid and in flux, it's hard for us to exactly know what that part of us is trying to tell us. So for me, this chakra card is really important because this is the first chakra, and that's where, that's the sacrum. And oftentimes that area of the body is associated with fear and scarcity and anxiety. So how that manifests physically is, for me at least, lower back pain. So when I feel my back kind of having a twinge, it means that some part of my life is feeling scared scarcity or anxiety. So it helps you kind of take control of those feelings. And I ask myself, how can I take care of myself right now? Do I need to take a break? Do I need to go drink a glass of water? Do I need to shut out everything and just be in silence? So I think initially sometimes people can have this very preconceived notion of what the chakras are, but they're actually quite a practical tool to gain access to your body that you might have not had before. And that's the power of the chakra system.
Thank you, Ahran.
Yeah.
So the next slide, Ashleigh. So the second phase, after you dig deep and find your trauma and name it, then we start releasing the hungry ghost. So we start giving you ways to think about life differently. Next slide. One of the tools is to turn on your intuition and listen to yourself and honor yourself. And that's something our society shuts down. And I think we think it's partly because of capitalism, it's partly because of colonization. If you keep doubting yourself, then you can stay controlled. So we're teaching people to not doubt themselves. This is intuitive collage, and it's not like any collage that you might be familiar with. Because of the way that we have you do it, you are not allowed to be analytical or you don't make conscious choices. We make you use your intuition. Bottom line, like you use it directly. So next slide. The other thing that's really important is accessing your little child, whether you're male or female or non-binary. We believe that a lot of the answers are when you were little. So one of the things we do is called Love Letters to Myself. And I thought it was too cute of an idea, but it's something that helped me like reconnect with my little self. And it's a collage, a gift you make to yourself. Next slide. And then you write the letter. Then you write the words of kindness to yourself. And these are collages by Janet and Emily. Anything goes. We have all kinds of materials that you can use, but it's learning to say kind things to yourself that your parent maybe never did for you. It's a really good practice. Next slide. So the third phase is called Claiming My Place. And that's where we start asking, what are your aspirations? If you had a place of your own, what would it be? And we start teaching how to work with art materials. Next slide. This is the part that the women missed. This is the class of 2018. Normally we spend time in the studio leading up to the exhibition, and you work with myself and Cris and Ahran and the art instructors to create work that a lot of people are shocked at how beautiful their work turns out. But the reason we use found objects is that means anybody at any artist level can make amazing work. And it's also very inexpensive. Next slide. It also gets you to see everyday objects differently. It gets you to think about everyday things differently. Like Irene is one of our past, actually she's helping with admin now, but she uses baby jars. Someone gave her 100 baby jars, and she used just cotton swabs and a little train person sitting there to make statements. So these are tools to grow your intuition. Next slide. So for the last 2 months, the women hear this ad nauseum from us. If you had a place of your own, what would it be? And it's a struggle to get it. What does it look like, feel like, sound like? Like, who gets to go there? You get to take agency over what happens in your place. And for a lot of women, my mother included, because she was at the beginning of the project, she never really thought about what she wanted because it was too painful. So this project asks you to give yourself permission. We actually demand that you figure out what you deserve. So synchronistically, the other thing is when you finally kind of fall on what you want to work on, or what you think you want to heal and what you want for a place of your own, found objects just kind of show up from people at work or in the street, at home. You just find things. It's kind of miraculous that way and very synchronistic. So next slide. So that's phase 3. Then phase 4 is proclaiming my place. And that's when we do the exhibition. And that's when the women, whether they believe it or not, but that's when they're asked to put their stake in the ground to say, I matter. What I want matters, and that I am worthy. And the best part is today, you guys are here. And just by you being here is telling each one of these women that what they have to say matters. So I'm not kidding when I say thank you for being here. It's making me cry thinking about it. But something brought you, I mean, besides them inviting you or a friend inviting you or me inviting you, something made it clear that your schedule could open up and that you wanted to come. So we really value your opinion and we value your thoughts and your energy that's here today. So thank you. So that's the 4 phases in a nutshell. And now I want to turn it over to Ahran. If you could stop the screen share, Ashleigh.
So this is what you guys came for. We're gonna start the artist talk. And what I'm gonna do is introduce the artist. And so remember to hold your comments and feedback. And if you have any thoughts that you wanna share with the artist later, please join us during the cup of tea session after the break. So without further ado, I wanna introduce everyone to our first artist. Our first artist is Katie Quan. She joined us for the 2020 residency. She's a native of San Francisco, and she's a 3rd-generation Chinese American. She is also the creator of Generation, an illustration-based web series, and she currently teaches at City College of San Francisco and San Francisco State University. She's a very busy and ambitious young lady. So yeah, let's go into that.
Do I start or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So thank you all for being here. I want to say a special thanks to Cynthia and Ahran for really having an open space really for all of us to figure out different things. When Cynthia invited me to be part of Place, I thought I was in the wrong space. I thought, if anything, I didn't have enough trauma or enough things to heal. But over time, I think I've found a few different cuts and bruises that probably still needed to be focused on. And so I really appreciate it. I also want to say that I haven't told anybody this, and so this is new for all the other Place women, but the first night that I met everyone, I've been hearing all these things about how intense Place was going to be and how spiritual it's going to be. And before I even began talking to anyone, I think I started tearing up, just having these thoughts of anticipating all the things we were going to talk about for the next 6 months. And so, so I appreciate, you really opening up your hearts and just being part of this journey for me. So the piece that I did is called A Love Letter to Camp Orange. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to read pretty much straight from my personal statement. My Gong passed away last year. A few months after, my papa sold the house, 2434 East Valley Glen Lane. My papa and Gong lived there for over 50 years. My mom and aunties grew up there. Queens of suburbia, they gallivanted through the streets like 16 candles, only coming home for rice, gailan, chongyokbang, and Gong's favorite game of what did you do today? Who did you hang out with? What did you eat? Did you have fun? My cousins grew up there, and so did I. Hello forts, Christmas tree decorating, cannonball contests, we epitomized the perfect childhood. When we were there, this was our home. This was our kingdom. But like a magic trick, first it was there, and then it was gone. I am the first grandchild to Paul and Catherine Lamb. Born in 1993, you can only imagine the excitement new grandparents must have to contain. Rumor has it that a week after I was born, my parents drove 7 to 8 hours to Orange. Through Harris Ranch and through the grapevine, the moment they arrived, Papa and Gong burst out of the house, opened the car door, and took me inside. conveniently leaving mom and dad to bring in the luggage. As children, my sister and I spent nearly every summer in Orange, California, Camp Orange as it became. There, we spent hours crafting, gardening, and swimming. Papa takes us to the library, leaving my sister and I to build a kingdom from piles and piles of books. Inspired by this newfound love, we bring home tales of magic and wonder. Gong Gong takes us to the 99-cent store, allowing us to spring through the aisles and search for the summer's best toy. Water guns are always a smash. We arrive as pasty San Francisco city dwellers and leave sun-kissed California suburban girls. 4, 5, 6, 7 grandchildren later, we inherit Papa's performative spirit and Gong Gong's quirky sense of humor. Over time, we do it all. Christmas plays, competitive Monopoly games, family newsletters, team categories to mahjong. My grandparents brag about us all the time. I learned this during Papa's Monday walks around the mall. Their friends talk nonstop about our dance performances during my Papa and Gong Gong's 50th anniversary. As an awkward teenager, I managed to throw away my pride and dance in public to S Club 7's Reach for the Stars, a show inspired by Disney cruise performers. And to this day, I've never seen my Papa smile so brightly. Years later, they ask me how my teaching is, how my art is, my passions. They even approve of my Chinese Hong Kong boyfriend. This is a very difficult task. You can ask any other Asian. Very good looking, they say. If only their grandchildren could find themselves too a good looking Chinese boyfriend. As we know, time slips away so fast. It's easy to get caught up in illusions of getting ahead in life. There's never enough time to call family or get in touch with friends. There's always some place to be and something to do. A love letter to Camp Orange captures simple moments with my grandparents. Papa's kitchen is the first place we head to every morning. Together, we sit at the round white table, passing around sections of the newspaper. My favorite are the comics. I love to laugh. Gong Gong loves the obituaries. He loves seeing how long he outlived everyone else. Gong Gong drinks watered down coffee. I drink milk. He tells me if I drink all my milk and finish college, we will travel the world together. On the brightest days, Papa, Gong Gong, my sister and I still sit there eating Papa's tasty sugar-covered teriyaki chicken and buttered rice. We talk about the adventures we created and explored all through the rooms of 2434 East Valley Climb Lane. Our hands and smiles fly all over the place. Our cheeks are rosy, our hair wild. Gong Gong fumbles for the remote control, getting himself ready for 60 minutes. Tomorrow, we will go back home. The skies are purple and orange. Pool is lit. A cold whisper breezes through the screen door, and Gong Gong closes it. Chilly, he says, mosquitoes won't come tonight. My sister and I nod as we gulp down the last of our bowls. In the army, Gong Gong had to eat fast if he wanted a second bowl. It must have passed down through the generations. We get up from our chairs for a new bowl. Mom will not allow for such fatty rice when we get home, only at Camp Orange. Our summer days are coming to an end. During his last months, I tell Gong Gong, we will travel. I will push him around in his wheelchair if it's the last thing I do. He chuckles and shakes his head. I must go on this journey alone. Find yourself, he jokingly says. He always says this. Find yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashleigh, or thank you, Katie. Okay, that was beautiful. I knew I was going to cry at some point today, and I didn't think that it would start so soon. So thank you, Katie, for that. So next, we have Jilly. Jilly has been with Place she's known Cynthia for many decades, but she's been a part of the Place family since 2014. She is a craniosacral practitioner, curator, and visual artist in the San Francisco Bay Area and Northern California. She's also the founder of Chatterbox Arts International and the San Francisco Altered Barbie exhibition, integrating cross-cultural arts platforms in San Francisco and China. So she's a very talented, creative person as well. And without further ado, let's have Jilly up.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, please. And Ahran and Cynthia and everybody here. It's such an inspiration and an honor to be a part of Place. So the title of my piece is called Coming Home, Body, Mind, and Spirit, Inspiration and Intuition. And as Ashleigh said, I've been able to journey into Place a few times, and it's been really difficult for me to really get Place. So, but Place has given me space to explore through art and breath work and chakra and spirituality and writing. And I am starting to find my beginning point at this point. So as Ashleigh says, the first part of Place is the Hungry Ghost. And this is to acknowledge legacy. And this excavation for me starts off with like a preparation, intention, action, follow through, and integration. And for me, it's really difficult for me to prep. And my intention is there, my action is there, my follow through starts falling apart, and then the integration starts falling apart. That's kind of my hungry ghost throughout things. And this is because even in utero, with my ancestry, my colonized and colonizing ancestry, I wasn't allowed to even take a breath, partly because my mom was given drugs and alcoholism that was invasive in my family lineage. And this dampened my spirit, my breath, and my body. And I really wasn't wanted at the end of the day. So my life force was compromised, and I was placed in really rigid roles, even as a baby. And I was supposed to be a caregiver and a scapegoat. And this is really overwhelming when you're young. So I compromised my own needs. And this was really reflected as I grew up in the communities that I surrounded myself and in my self-esteem. And I made myself invisible because I didn't want to be seen, and I had no sense of self. So this unconscious beingness that I carried with me led to a near-death experience. And I was in a car accident. And but it also began my meandering into health. So there was a gift in this traumatic experience. And now I'm in Place, and I'm beginning to rewrite my manifest destiny. And in preparation for all of this, what I'm finding is coming home to my breath. And that's in a natural and easy way, not in a prescribed way. And listening and slowing down to explore all of my internal workings of my body. And when I breathe consciously into myself, I'm aware of how I present to the world and it to me, and where I sit at that moment. And I begin to relax and let go. And I can be more aware of the surroundings. My emotions come into play at that point. And, but I'm also allowed to start to breathe and accept all of myself and my thoughts and every part through just this breath. And through my breath, I'm asking my body what I'm needing right now. And I continue to breathe naturally in and out, allowing the tension just to be there, but also to soften with the breath. And I become aware of all of my body parts. and where everything is connected, and how I'm connected from head to toe, front to back, side to side, through my diaphragm and my breath. And my thoughts fade in and out. And as I soften, things start to highlight. And I want to focus on pain or emotions, but they just keep going down. And as I continue to breathe down through my body, connecting everything, I'm really aware of how I begin to connect, not just with myself, but with the earth and the life and the cosmos. And so I go from the center of the earth through my feet and legs, and then I can come back up through my body and connect up into into spirit. And at the end of the day, I'm here, I am real. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. I have the right to feel and have pleasure. I honor the power within me. I flow through life and with connected and supported flexibility and ease. I have the right to love and be loved. I communicate clearly with love. I allow my creativity to flow. I am manifesting my vision and seeing all things clearly. I am being guided by my inner wisdom and spirit. And I'm able to create and finish. My place is finding my breath, integrating all of me and letting go, trusting my inherent health and intuition that is and always has been. The more I trust and love myself and the world around me, this love and trust immediately reverberates through my life out to my family and loved ones. I am so grateful I'm beginning to celebrate the integration of the I am, the rainbow of me, and everything about me and to everybody around me and my new found breath. And I'm looking forward to more creation and connection, and that's healthy. And hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. And if you guys can take a look at Julie's Zoom rectangle, in the background is her piece. So
Yeah.
that's, if you can take a look at that.
It's a beginning.
Thank you. Yes.
It's actually.
Thank you, Julie. And next up, we have Emily Yamauchi. And let's see. Emily has joined us for the 2020 residency, and she's a writer and artist in Oakland, California. She writes fiction, essays, and comics, and is working on a graphic memoir about interrupting and creating new family patterns. A young girl turned woman healing family patterns of denial, silence, avoidance, and escape by allowing herself to experience a new way in the world. So without further ado, Emily, can you take the stage?
Yes, thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
My talk today is about perfectionism, but not in the way that you might think, because what I've discovered is that perfectionism isn't actually about being perfect. The appearance of confidence is always really important to me, but in practice, I'm often like, well, that's good enough. I'm a huge procrastinator, and most perfectionists I know are. When I'm being myself, I'm not a very careful person. I tend to jump into things, new interests, new projects, even major life decisions, without full information and sometimes on a whim. And I don't care much for being appropriate. When I meet someone who is always perfectly appropriate, I usually think they're hiding something. I detest uniformity. I think boredom is a crime. And I tend to avoid things I don't want to do until it's absolutely unavoidable. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, that natural imperfection is what makes things interesting and beautiful, really resonates with my aesthetics. So you might think these are not the traits of perfection, and you would be right. They don't really lend themselves to attaining that goal, right? And this is my point. There's conflict between how I authentically am and the compulsion to present a certain way. And that is the root of perfectionism. Perfectionism isn't so much about needing to be perfect as it is about believing that something about how I am is fundamentally flawed. And because of that, I've always tried to cover it up and prove my worth through achievement and accomplishments. The gulf between this self-limiting belief and my authentic self created a constant feeling of unease and deep frustration, and even disease in my body. Where did this belief come from? I've had to examine everything from childhood traumas and conditioning I've received over the years to thinking about what is the root of traumas and patterns from family members, from what I've witnessed or inherited in my family, all the way through my ancestral lines. And what I've discovered is that somewhere along the way, I learned that despite my natural gifts, I am unacceptable. What I'm understanding about perfectionism is that it isn't something I caused in myself, and therefore isn't a fault to be ashamed of. It's a symptom of trauma and inexplicably tied to other symptoms like hypervigilance, codependency, the compulsion to worry about everyone else's needs before my own. I'm working all the time to separate my worth, my self-worth, completely from achievements and accomplishments, and to feel truly that I'm worthy just as I am. There are no conditions to be met before I'm deserving. And dismantling perfectionism can be distilled down to that single and enormously powerful belief. It's not simply an affirmation that I say to myself while secretly believing how I feel about myself is, of course, tied to accomplishments or achievements. It takes a tremendous amount of courage, diligence, faith, dedication, and self-love, and is the true work of healing. I realize how uncommon that is, how revolutionary it is to actually do the real work to set myself free. So the title of my piece, Mukashi Banashi, means tales of long ago, and they refer to Japanese folktales. They usually begin Mukashi mukashi aru toko ni, which means once upon a time. So once upon a time, I was blissfully free of self-policing, shaming, and hierarchical thinking. I shone brightly without much thought and without fear. My inside and my outside were the same. And this is what I'm working my way back towards, back to what is my natural state, which is free. My art piece represents a return to my intuitive natural place. The scenes are a depiction of my internal landscape, which I imagine as a universe inside me, infinitely explorable, self-replenishing, and self-healing. Each section represents an aspect that is necessary for a healthy, thriving, authentic self. Self-love, intuition, manifestation, and transformation. I'm creating my personal Mukashi Banashi, one that was always completely free and authentically me, unmarred by conditioning from old patterns, inherited beliefs, and trauma. In Place, we talk a lot about hungry ghosts, and I felt a strong connection between this concept and Tengu in Japanese folklore. So traditionally, these are half-bird, half-human spirit creatures that wreak havoc and create chaos and wars among the human race. They lure spiritual enlightenment seekers off their path, and they can possess people's minds. In the same way, our hungry ghosts can create chaos and internal wars inside of ourselves and confuse our natural paths. For the last 6 months, I've been on an intense journey to decondition myself from hungry ghosts, recognize that they're not mine, and stop feeling like I'm constantly fighting against myself. Over time, the depiction of Tengu transformed to also be known as protectors and guardians of forests, mountains, and temples, and have come to be celebrated. So in the spirit of transformation, I've created a reimagined personal Tengu that represents my old patterns and negative beliefs, transformed and set free in the form of a protector and guardian of my place. The act of creating the piece turned out to be part of the healing process, not just the ideas and metaphors, because in making the art piece, the the perfectionism hungry ghost came rising up again to fight what I wanted to do versus what I thought was correct. This time I recognized it, I sat with it. I did not berate myself for it, and I trusted myself to know what to do when the time was right. Once I gave myself full permission to scrap all those ideas and let my intuition, not logic, rule, I found play and fun, inspiration, effortless and abundant creative flow. I found my authentic self. More and more, I no longer feel the need to prove myself to anyone, not the world, my peers, my family, or even myself. I practice living every day authentically, honestly, without shame and in non-fear. There is no version of me for show, no version of me that is not me. And this is true freedom. It's what I've always wanted. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Yay. Awesome, 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 awesome. I really feel you on the perfectionism. I struggle with it immensely. So, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one in this group who struggles with that. So thank you so much for creating art piece that reflects that struggle. Thank you. And next we have Janet King. Janet came to Place in 2020. She joined us in 2020, and she is a 60-plus Native American woman from the Lumbee tribe in North Carolina. She is a mother of an adult child and works at Native American Health Center for the past 24 years. Her entire working career has been at nonprofit agencies, most of them Native American. She advocates for systemic changes so people of color and LGBTQ communities have culturally responsive care and healthy communities. So we are very, very lucky to have Janet King be a part of our Place family. So Janet, let us get to know you.
Okay.
Take the stage, please.
Okay, thank you for the introduction, Ahran. And thank you, Cynthia, for opening up today's event by doing some land acknowledgements. I just want to say that this is a practice that's catching on, and it is very profoundly healing for people who have been erased. So thank you for opening up that way. Sorry, I didn't think I was going to start crying so early. And so I want to make a special mention to the Ohlone people. They're the traditional people from Oakland and San Francisco Bay Area, and they suffered a lot from erasure because they're not state recognized or federally recognized, and so it really it's very healing to be remembered and not to be erased. And I know, like Berkeley, you know, when they have the signs, "Welcome to Berkeley," it also says, "Welcome to Ohlone territory." And it is profoundly healing to be remembered and not erased. So that's not just some kind of cute thing that you just did, Cynthia. It's profoundly healing. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
So, so I want to start out my talk by talking a little bit about animals. We have a lot of animal stories and Native traditions, and the animal that I want to talk about is the sea turtle. And when the sea turtle goes to have its young, it swims out of the ocean into a piece of land, a sandy beach, and digs a pit and lays her eggs and then covers them all up and then swims away. And when I heard about this story, it really resonated with me because I felt like, you know, it told the story of the last 3 generations of women in my family who've had to do something similar. You just have your children, you birth them, and then it's like you have to swim away. It's like, bye, you're on your own. And even though this is not our Native tradition, to leave children, to be raised by other children, because of the consequence of colonization, it became a reality for several generations of my family. So the first generation I would like to speak about is my grandmother. My mother told me that when my grandmother would give birth to a child, she would have to immediately go back up and work in the fields. My grandmother's family were sharecroppers, and the way they made money to survive was by working somebody else's farm. And my mother was the oldest girl, so my mother was had the responsibility of taking care of the children that my grandmother birthed. And my grandmother birthed 9 children. But it was like, bye, you're on your own, because she had to go work in the fields. And my mother told me that the only quality time she had with her mother was when my grandmother was cooking. And while she was cooking, she was able to share a few words with my mom. So, you know, the quality of relationship building wasn't there because the time that was spent away to try to provide for the family. And my mother's story was very similar. She birthed 7 children. And out of those 7 children, my 2 older sisters became the mothers in my family. I was one of the children, and my 2 younger sisters were cared for by my older sisters as my mother worked. And our daytimes were, we got to play, but we had to play real quietly because my mother was sleeping because she worked at night. So it was very stressful to have this working mother that worked nights, and we had to play quietly so she could sleep. And there were some terrorizing moments that my oldest sister had when she had to keep us safe when she was home alone with us that still haunt her till today. So when I became a mother, I wanted to change this pattern of bye, you're on your own, but it still crept into my life. My daughter fared better than I did, than my sisters did, and my grandmother did. You know, my daughter got more of my attention. She was born. We were able to have bedtime storytelling and had lots of you know, moments together with each other. But it still crept into my life. When she was a teenager and old enough to be home alone, she was home alone. The one summer while I worked, I would rush home at lunch break and bring her something to eat. And then again, it was, bye, you're on your own until I got home from work. And if there was something I could change about my upbringing of her, it would be that summer. I wish I didn't have to leave her, even when she was a teenager and able to be home alone. So the center of my art piece is, not, by the way, this is a picture of me. I'm the, maybe the picture that just was on, that's me, the youngest girl, and then my 2 older sisters, Lovetta's in the middle, and my sister Kathy's on the end. And this is actually not the picture I wanted to have, but it was the only one I could find. And that actually became metaphoric in my experience with doing my art. What can I find? The past is hard to get to. So, okay, we can go to the next slide, I guess. So in the centerpiece of my piece of art is a Lumbee cabin that I made with sticks. It's still in the making, so I don't have the final product to show to you. But it's a traditional Lumbee dwelling place that, you know, that Lumbees lived in prior to or at the beginning of colonization. And it's also a time machine. A time machine to go back into time and to recapture the culture that we lost because of colonization. And the culture that we lost was a very loving culture, a very kind culture, and it got replaced with the violent culture where children are left to raise themselves. And again, bye, you're on your own. This was not the way we were raised before colonization. So this is the culture that I wanted to recapture by having our cabin be the time machine. And inside the cabin are the 2 pictures of, one is a colored picture of myself and my 2 younger sisters. It's symbolic for the future. And the picture that I wanted to have, this is a picture of the future. I'm the tallest one in the picture, and those are my 2 younger sisters. So this is representing the babies to come, the generations to come, and the generations that are coming. And then the picture of my 2 older sisters, the one that I really wanted to put in my cabin for the time machine, my 2 older sisters are laughing and they're being children and not parents. And that's what I wanted to recapture in my time machine, the old culture where children actually have the full duration of their childhood to be children and not to be forced into adulthood because some traumatic events that are happening in the family. So a place of my own, it would be a place where there's time to rest. There's time to rest fully before you have to go back to work the next day. There's time for children to go through all the different developmental stages of being a child and growing into adulthood. Children are able to ease into adulthood with all the help and guidance and all the ceremonial all the ceremonies that we had at different stages of life, so children aren't afraid and scared, and they have all the help and guidance from the adult community to become adults. So this is what I wanted to recapture in my place of my own, this time where developmental stages are honored, and you have time to rest and don't have to go out to work in the fields right after you have a baby. So my place of my own is when the women don't have to just birth the children and then leave them. They get to stay with them. And the whole village community is, the emphasis is on raising the next community, the next generation of children to be adults. And the emphasis is not on making money, especially it's making money for somebody else to be rich. And in my place of my own, there's time to rest, to eat, to sleep, to exercise, and you don't have to give up any of those life-practicing rituals to have time for one of them to happen. And also a place of my own is a space where women are safe. Women are safe from rape, from misogyny, from toxic masculinity, from male dominance, from patriarchy. And women are revered in the old culture as life givers, and children are allowed to go through all the developmental stages of growing up. And a place of my own is a place where we can live in harmony with the seasons, with the plant and the animal and our cosmic relatives. And this is something we do on a daily basis and not just on a vacation. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Wow.
Thank you, Janet. I always say that it is better out than in. So to me, when we are inspired to cry, that's us channeling very sacred energy, and it's tremendous courage to do that in front of people. So thank you so much for being brave today and sharing what was once invisible and making that visible. That takes a lot of cojones to do. So thank you for doing that, Janet. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we will switch over to Norma Carerra. And the way Norma is going to present her artist talk today is she's going to first speak in Spanish, which is her native language. And we will have Cris Matos, who is Cynthia's partner, who will be reading the English version, the translated version of that artist talk. So let's have Norma on. Miss Norma, hello.
Hello. Hi. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Cris, for translation for me. So my name is Norma Carerra, and I'm from Mexico, and I'm live here for at least 30 years ago. And I wanted to speak in Spanish, my first language. So I'm going to start. So, si tuviera un lugar propio, ¿cuál sería? Mi balanza de mi propio cuerpo y mi mente. Tengo cosas claves en este trabajo que serían el balance en mi propia persona, espacio a través de mis 7 chakras, las cuales trato de alinear y estar en balance con cada una con ellas a diario. ¿Qué fue difícil para mí en este proceso de aceptación? Lo más difícil es haber encontrado mi propio yo, sin dejar mi esencia, mi propia personalidad, ser yo misma al 100%. Lo fácil, traer a mi cabeza la manera de cómo deseaba tener mi balanza. Y el arte afloró en mí cuando tuve la idea de tener mi propio espacio para mí misma. Frustrante, no poder poner en una balanza todo lo que mi imaginación desea, ya que debo seleccionar lo que realmente me sirve y no cargar de más con cosas que no debo tener. Maravilloso. Descubrir que al fin encontré mi propio espacio, que no necesito un lugar para encontrar mi propia esencia y mi balance. Es maravilloso el saber que no dependo que no depende de nadie mi felicidad, mi estabilidad emocional, que solamente yo tengo el poder de mi propia felicidad y yo elijo qué me hace feliz sin culpar a nadie ni esperar que nadie lo haga por mí. Milagroso. Milagroso porque al cambiar mi forma de pensar, muchas cosas alrededor mío han cambiado. ¿Qué cosa encontré gratificante? Lo más grato es encontrar la alegría de poder hacer las cosas como yo deseo, sin pensar en agradar a nadie, por temor a lastimar sentimientos que no son mi responsabilidad. Lo más útil y sorprendente es poder decir y expresarme con mi verdad sin temor a autojuzgarme yo misma. ¿Qué aprendí sobre este proceso? Que puedo traspasar generaciones tras generaciones y que puedo romper ataduras. Los fantasmas de mis ancestros son pasado y que yo decido cuándo ellos me pueden hacer daño. Los honro porque son parte de mi aprendizaje, como hija, como hermana, como madre, como mujer y como esposa. Y ahora a través de mi balanza, de forma cilindra, ellos solo tienen derecho, mis fantasmas, a dar vueltas y vueltas sin poder esconderse en ningún rincón. En ningún rincón de mi vida. Yo honro mi espacio, honro mi vida, honro mi nueva generación y la nueva generación de mi familia, mis hijos, honro mi esposo y yo hablo la verdad. Y yo soy balance en mis decisiones. Nada es casualidad. El universo me regresa lo que yo necesito con amor, porque al fin me acepto y me quiero como soy. ¿Qué descubro en mi pequeña? Para mi pequeña Normita, descubre que la mujer en la que se ha convertido jamás dejará sola a ella, que nadie podrá hacerle daño, porque siempre estará protegida por la persona fuerte y honesta que soy, que es Norma, que saldrá corriendo a su encuentro cuando sienta que está en peligro su pequeña. La tomará entre sus brazos, la rescatará, donde nadie podrá tocarla emocionalmente. Que juntas estarán aisladas en un lugar perfecto, que es el balance. Que ahora han encontrado un espacio para ellas dos, donde nadie tiene permiso de entrar más que ellas dos. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
¿Cómo ha cambiado este proceso en ti, en mí? Ha cambiado toda mi familia, toda mi forma de pensar. Antes creía que era algo malo la manera de comportarme. He aprendido y aceptado que el ser diferente en mi forma al resto de mi familia no es porque sea una persona mala, es porque estoy trayendo a mis nuevas generaciones la oportunidad de un nuevo amanecer. Sin violencia, sin culpas, sin abusos, sin remordimientos, sin miedos, sin ataduras, sin responder cuestiones, sin manipulaciones. Y mi agradecimiento a Place for Her, a Cynthia, Maggie, Ahran, al esposo de Maggie, Natalie, to everybody, and Place for Her. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Norma.
Tremendo, Norma, me encanta.
Wow.
You did it.
Gracias, Norma. So now Chris Matos is going to give you the English version on behalf of Norma.
Hi, my name is Chris Matos, and I have been asked to do this English part of the of Norma's writing, and I'm very honored to be able to do this. And so it goes like this. If I had a place of my own, what would it be? A place where I have balance in my own body and mind. The balance in my own person and space through the 7 chakras, which I try to align and be on balance with each other, each of them, and my total connection with the universe. The hardest thing is discovering my own self, embracing my essence, my own personality, permission to be myself 100%. I easily imagine flowers blooming when I think about the space I want it for myself. Not being able to put on a scale everything my imagination wants, since I must select what really serves me and not carry over with things that I should not have. Discover that I finally found my own space, that I do not need a physical place to be happy. To find myself with my own essence and my balance. It's wonderful to know that I do not depend on anyone for my happiness or emotional stability. I have the power over my own happiness. I choose what makes me happy without blaming anyone or expecting anyone to make me happy. Miraculous because I have been able to change the way I think. Many things around me have changed. The most pleasing thing I found is the joy of being able to do things as I wish, without worrying about what anyone else thinks, especially my relatives, for fear of hurting their feelings. Their feelings are no longer my responsibility. The most useful and surprising thing now is that I can tell and express myself with my truths without self-judgment. I learned that I can go beyond generations, that I can break ties, that the hungry ghosts of my ancestors are in the past, and I get to decide when they can hurt me. I honor them because they are my teachers, as part of my learning as a daughter, sister, mother, and wife. Now, through my circular balance, they only have the right to go around and around without hiding anymore in any corners of my life. I honor my space. I honor my life and my new generations and my family, children, and husband. I speak the truth and I am balanced in my decisions. Nothing is a coincidence. The universe and God provides me with what I need with love because I finally accept that God and the universe loves me as I am. My little Normita, she discovered that the grown-up Norma will never leave her alone. No one will be able to harm her because she will always be protected by the honest, strong person, me. If Normita runs away when she feels that she is in danger, I will take her in my arms and rescue her from the 2nd floor, lower chakras, and take her to the highest floors, 7th chakra, where wisdom and intuition and the arms of God keep anyone wanting to cause harm from touching her emotionally. Together they can insulate in this perfect place. It is the balance that they have embraced, safe space for them where no one is allowed to enter without full permission. Place changed my whole way of thinking because I thought it was a bad thing to be different. I was the odd person in my family. I have learned and accepted that being different from the rest of my family is not because I am a bad person. It's because I am there to break destructive family patterns. I am bringing to my new generations the opportunity of a new dawn without violence, without abuse, without fear, without reproach, and without issues, and without manipulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Cris. Thank you, Norma. Very
Thank you,
powerful.
Cris.
Thank
Very
you,
cool.
Normita. Whew, okay. So, next we have up Reyna Daudian. And Reyna joined us with Place in 2020, and she's also a public health nurse by training. Now she works to share dream stories bridging via intertribal canoe building and expands the work of a healing canoe, addressing post-traumatic environmental trauma with hopes to heal ancestral trauma passed on over generations of colonialism. She is a novice carver of a 22-foot red Western cedar dugout, double outrigger canoe, and the vision holder and co-founder of Baliksa Dagat Bangka Journey. I don't think you can be a novice to have all of that. I'm pretty sure you're an expert at this. But if you're ready, Reyna, the stage is yours.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Maayong adlaw. First, I'd like to acknowledge the indigenous peoples who have blessed me in my life and encouraged me to follow my dreams. I'm thankful to elders and many who helped me understand my path in this world. As Grandpa Babe shared, travel in the vastness of the river of the Milky Way and return as a dream, as a good idea, and keep the windows of the heart open. I especially want to thank my twin sister, my seal, for gifting me to be part of this healing arts program, and also my supportive and loving husband who's Zooming as well with us. Next slide, please. So within this 8 minutes, in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, I dedicate this space to those who were killed by the police and their families fighting for justice. As I enter positions of trust and power, I dream a little. I am baby steps as I am giant leaps. I give thanks to sacred circles of women of a place of our own, saying yes together and stepping to our gifts in these tumultuous pandemic times. I am a daughter, a twin sister, a wife, a caregiver, a care receiver, a dreamer, and a twin auntie. Next slide, please. 2.5 years ago, I lost myself in the depths and darkness of brain fog related to a car accident that halted the life I once knew. Unfortunately, it made me go through loopholes of systemic oppression for folks with invisible conditions. Over time, I learned coping skills and celebrated small victories. I learned how to rebuild, reconstruct, and regrow me, myself, and I, and you could see the different layers of that in the collage. I'm slowly rejoining the outside, non-concussed world. I quickly learned how to case manage and nurse myself first, putting on my mask first. Last summer, I would walk past a mural from a nearby school on 6th and Geary and find solace with its relatable images. It was one of Cynthia Tom's art collaborations I learned later. Synchronicity indeed. That following winter, I responded to a post on Facebook by Barbara Mumby Huerta about a Place of Her Own 2020 outreach. And I applied, and that's why I'm thrilled to be with you today. I'm so blessed and grateful that I can speak, I can write, I can talk, and I can breathe freely amongst and with you. I'm learning more deeply about this radical act of self-love. Next slide, please. In this healing arts process, building upon my own strength and weaknesses, my role is to anchor my lightness of being. I commit to soar in my flying canoe in the rainbow of cosmic galaxies with my dream paddle. With each strip of paper glued together with Mod Podge and lots of duct tape, I was placing bandages together on hella deep ancestral wounds. But it felt good to play with my hands. A place of our own, San Francisco 2020, where it is a safe and encouraged to consecrate into volcanic fires the guilt and shame passed on to descendants of rape of islander women by its colonizers. I share my perspective as a descendant of islanders, women of the archipelago known as the Philippines, and my European colonizers who traveled from Tequila, Jalisco, Mexico, via the Manila Acapulco galleon trade routes in the 1700s. I learned that in the past decade that my maternal great-grandmother's grandmother is one of twins that had a child with a Padre ancestor. I am a descendant of twin islander women and a priest born in the islands. There's more juice to that story, but that's for another time. My little girl, Anunja Tita Timiji Hataji, baby girl with a rainbow in her heart, is rediscovering all of herself. A place of her own gave me building blocks with profound and deep chakra work. There are many layers in this artwork, but I'll just briefly and quickly introduce the grandma canoe, the little girl canoe, and the dream power paddle. And I look forward to connecting more with you all later on. So this is grandmother canoe. And usually when the canoes are not being used, they're usually put on a stick and positioned, I don't know if you, positioned upside down. But in this anchoring my lightness of being, I repurposed the picture that was gifted to me a week ago of my twin ancestor. That was a photo that was taken in 1899. And I placed her in this grandmother canoe. And there's a little girl canoe in the photo that's lying down so that the grandmother canoe embraces the little girl canoe as she sleeps and starts to dream. So in the arms and warm embrace of her twin ancestors, she sleeps. And upon dreaming, she emerges as one of a twin canoe dreamer with an activated dream power paddle. My place got me to the space where the solid gold liquid that Cynthia had started in the meditations of our classes, we poured it down to the roots of Mother Nature, but it gave me a solid backbone. My own place is a sanctuary with space and pace I set for my healing. It is well protected with sheer strength of majestic crystalline horses as big as the Bay Bridge and its beautiful shining rainbow prism main. A playground where a universal canoe journeys in the cosmic galaxy traveling through timeline of pre-colonial spaces. Remembering to nourish with play and to share canoe and paddle songs and dances and to celebrate twindom. Next slide, please. With my dream power paddles, I invoke spirit guides to create new grounds for love and justice and for new growth for freedom to heal from this patriarchal, unjust, and racist world. I stand my ground, and by doing so, helps to invoke men that I love, my brothers, to take responsibility, to heal and move on, and to create healing spaces for men by men themselves. Because we need each other to heal together, and but that each one must do each of their own work themselves. I pay tribute to the golden spine and the golden meditation. And when I go deeper into my spine, the core is as solid as a warrior's purple golden splashes of a sword.
So you can see in one of the images that when you turn it around, the spine breaks out into a solid sword, a tool of my ancestral warriors, ancestors' tools. This process transformed the trauma of when I felt each one of my spinal bone go clunk, clunk, clunk as I got thrown with force back down on my seat from the car accident. I step into my name and space as Reyna Daudian on Lipai. And lastly, I invoke the power of elephant medicine, as is what I drew from my 7th chakra flashcard, connecting with matriarchal bonds and deep reverence and great memory for loved ones and their ancestors. Conclusion, this for me is a significant personal transformation, like a butterfly's painful crawl out of its cocoon to fly with its new wings. It's time to play, and I'm ready with my dream. Perhaps you will join me to soar as fleets of flying canoes with dreamers of all rainbow colors, and with your dream power paddles activated to sing and to dance, to heal Earth Mother, of whom heals us all. Thank you for listening.
Oof. Thank you. Thank you. Ooh. Powerful. Very powerful. Thank you so much, Reyna. Okay. Now we have our last artist, Patricia Zamora, and we call her Paz. Paz has been an alumni and community liaison with Place since 2016. She has worked for 13 years with Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco, and most recently as the director of Citywide Creative Arts. She is on the board of the Arts Education Alliance for the Bay Area and SF Human Rights Working Group around anti-racism and equity. And she is a powerhouse woman, and she will take the stage now and gift us with her art and her truths.
Hello, thank you for that warm welcome. I'm sorry that you're kind of like those commercials where we're like a silhouette, you don't really know who the people are. But I felt it was really important having this opportunity for you to actually see the land that I'm going to be referencing and why this piece, what the meaning of this piece is. So with me is my mother, Genevieve Zamora, 88 years old, and my sister, Eva Johnson, who I'm also going to reference in my talk and who are here today to support. And I want to shout out my husband, Michael War, whom I love and have so many tender feelings for. Thank you for your support. So shout out to all the Place sisters, Cynthia, Ahran, Cris, Ashleigh, Cynthia as founder of Place, your vision, your love, and your belief in our voice, our art, and healing and transformation is so needed in this world. And also I want to honor all of the ancestors who are with us today and those that are coming behind us. And that's what I dedicate this talk to is the ones who are coming behind us. The first slide I have there, and I don't know, okay, there we go, great. Is just real quick, the piece that I'm working on, I'm going to share with you, it's a work in progress, it's called 7. And this is a little bit about how I got to 7. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but what you're looking at is 2 past exhibitions of Place that, Place has a lot of amazing opportunities and learning. But what I kept finding, being now my 3rd round of Place, I was drawn to the family patterns and the chakras. Those were the 2 things that really started coming into play around my healing. And because in this first piece on the left, that's actually an outline of my body. And inside of the body is the family patterns, because what started to happen is I was starting to name things, and they were so deep and so ongoing, and they were still coming out in the generations of people that I loved and younger family members. And I was like, I have to make this something that can be transformed into good. And so that piece right there was really a lot of conversations with my family, my mother, to talk about this. And when the more I put it on paper, it was actually like kind of like a map. You're like, oh wow, I'm this generation of the chakra, because there's 7 chakras, and there's 7 generations in my family now. And so based on the Native American tradition, the 7th generation that you identify is the healing generation. So I started to show this even to younger kids in my family and sisters, and with the idea like, wow, we're in this generation. So what is our choices going to be for those that are for ourselves and for those to come? Because it was just all the patterns were there: addiction, alcoholism, violence. And there was names, you know, aunts' names, uncles' names, sisters' names, brothers' names. And so it was very real. And so as I got into this more, that second image on the right is the most recent iteration of the chakra and ancestral healing. And I called it Root to Spirit because each level of the chakra, you see how it's evolving. It's a little more crisp, it's a little more defined. But what I came to understand was that second iteration was kind of like my aspiration around healing the chakras. And those are all pictures of family members. It's called Root to Spirit. Generations from the 7 generations, there's pictures all the way up to the spirit level, which is the youngest generations. And so it was a way to, you know, start processing how could healing happen? How could you become healthy after so many, I used to think I was messed up, and I would tell my counselor, like, what the hell is going on? And then I started with place, you start to see the context of why things are as they are. And unless we understand that, we blame ourselves, we blame each other, we do all kinds of things to hurt ourselves or hurt other people in our lives. And so having that historical ancestral context of like, this is the colonization that actually, this is a chart of my resiliency. This is not a chart of how broken I am. It's a chart of how our family has survived, and despite everything that has come up against it. You know, we are Mexican, we are indigenous to North America, and we are now the immigrants. We are now illegal. We are now undocumented in our own land. And so as Mexica people, you know, unless I understood that, I'm just like, well, you know, you don't know the root. And so those are those 2 pieces. And we can go on to the next slide. Because I started dealing, you can move on, thank you. So in the process, if you can move back, please, to the previous slide, right there. So part of this journey, like I said, was really engaging my family in this conversation. And the photo on the left you see is actually like the activities I learned in place were actually a way to start taking it back to my family and to do collage making. And there we had like a collage making session, I think with about 4 generations, you know, of family members there in my mom's kitchen. And this is a little preview that I did with my family and the Root to Spirit. And again, it's always an invitation because you have to be careful not to impose on people, but it was always an invitation like, this is where I'm at in my healing. How are you doing? How, and we were learning how to be a family. And then the right side here is in my talks. I usually always try to invite family members to be here because they're there for a reason. They're on their healing journey, and they are part of my support system. So it's very interconnected. We can go to the next slide. So the reason I say that was because 2 things are going to be in the piece. The closing part is this in the first piece I did, I was telling Cynthia, I didn't even realize this, but healthy is made up of 2 words, which is heal thy. And the root of heal thy is that you are whole, that you are not broken. And so I think Heal Thy for me is a battle cry to, like, in this time that we're in right now, more than ever, healing is a revolutionary act. And the other thing I just want to close on is that this is part of the pieces you're going to see. If you want to go to the next slide. I'm working with the idea of 7 generations. I found these 7 curtains in my mom's closet. And so this is actually what you're seeing flying in the back right here are the pieces that I'm going to be working with on this installation. It is a work in progress. And I just want to acknowledge my sister and my mother, because my place, if I could say it, is actually right here in my ancestral land. And during this pandemic, we have had so many traumas be triggered. And so my place right now is actually healing these ancestral traumas. And that's why this exhibit and being on a place is very, very important in this time. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Paz.
Thank you, Paz. That was fabulous. Just so you know, because of the way things have rolled out, a lot of the art wasn't finished, and Cris, I, and Ahran couldn't do hands-on help putting things together and realizing things. So August 15th is going to be you are on this journey with us. This is new for us, but on August 15th, we're going to do a presentation similar to this and probably a little more polished then with a bigger audience. And then at some point, we really want to make this a live brick and mortar show, but it does take a good year to put a really good show together, including, we may have lost our space. We love doing it at this place called J-Say, which is a Japanese community center extraordinaire in Emeryville, but because they mainly serve seniors, they may have to rethink letting us use the space. So anyway, I'm sorry to just jump in, but just know that all these amazing things you're seeing will keep evolving, and we will keep you in the loop if you want to be. So sorry, go ahead, Ahran.
No, that's okay. So those were the 7 artists who were presenting today. We're gonna give you guys a much needed break, I'm sure. Take your bio breaks, go get snacks, go get tea, water, coffee, and we would love to have you guys back so we can have an informal conversation where you guys get to actually engage with the artist, the show. So if you guys have any questions or compliments, please have a lot of them, especially the compliments, and bring yourselves back in about 10 minutes. So let's say, so it's 2:46 now, let's say 2:56. And we'll see you guys then. We're all gonna go take a break now, including me.
Yeah,
so
and you're welcome to bring food and drink while on this next the next part of our session that we're doing. If you need to leave, that's okay, because I know we're running behind, but I think it'll be really fun. And again, you can bring whatever you're eating or drinking, and we'll just break bread together virtually. Thank you.
We'll metabolize the tears into laughter, I promise. Be right back.
Oh, my back is so tight. How are you?
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're still on. Where's Dara?
Uh, okay.
Is there anybody else here? Oh, okay.
I'm here.
Hi, Michael. It was so good to see you.
Hi, Michael.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. You've been busy.
It's never over.
No.
Unending. Lots of good stuff, though.
Yeah. Whew. Paz is amazing. Just thank you for creating the space where she can just flourish.
Yeah, we created.
Yeah, co-creating.
I just wanted to say how excellent of an ambassador Paz was. Like the way she spoke about her experience was just so perfect to reflect what place does. So proud of her. So proud of her.
And it feeds us to hear that, because it is really hard work. This year has been like ridiculously hard, but we knew it's the right thing to do. And so Paz kind of put it in a nutshell beautifully.
Yeah, all of it well done. I really enjoyed this. It all was really well done. The whole all the presentations. I really learned a lot from it, and it's good to. It's nice to see the process relatively early in the game.
Yeah. Well, you know, most of they're not experienced artists. Most of them, half of them, I would say, aren't experienced artists. At least half. So this is new for a lot of them, and we're just so proud that they just jumped in. We pushed them in if they didn't want to jump in, and they swam. So it's really beautiful.
Cynthia, have you been able to eat anything?
Well, Cris just made me a cup of coffee. And, I'm good. I think I was too nervous to eat much, so I'm good right now.
Yeah. It went by fast. It went by fast for me.
But good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny is if I was walking into a space and you were all standing there, I would just. It's comfortable, but you're all in squares looking, and there's something like different about being online.
Yeah, somebody was commenting to me the other day. I don't know if it was Pat, but they were talking about how it reminds them, all this zooming reminds them of Hollywood Squares.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're in little boxes. Oh, where didn't Rowan Martin used to have something like that too? That was probably
Laughing. Yeah.
Laughing. That might
We're
be
dating ourselves, Michael.
I do it all the time.
Do we need to unmute people, or can they unmute themselves? Hi, Jasmine.
Hi.
I'm glad you're on. And Dara. If everybody's back, turn on your cameras so we can see you.
Yes, please.
No.
Hi, Julia.
Ooh.
Great job, everybody. That was so incredible. I feel really inspired just to get to see all of you. And I know, Zoom, it doesn't feel normal, but I just feel so privileged to be invited to witness your stories and your vulnerability. Thank you so much.
Who are you, William?
No.
I am Ahran's partner.
William. That was William's voice.
Oh, was it just a voice coming from nowhere?
No, I found you.
Okay, cool.
Come over here,
Thank you. I don't know if I've ever met you personally or face to face. So great to meet you.
So maybe, Ahran, when people want to speak up, we could ask them to say their names and how they heard about how they showed up today.
Yeah. I guess I'll just repeat what Cynthia said. It would be really nice if you guys could share with us who you were invited by, and any comments. A lot of compliments will be excellent. And please be mindful to unmute yourself so that we can hear your lovely voices and so we can relish the compliments.
Does Ashleigh need to unmute people? Because William can't unmute himself and I can't unmute him. Oh, there he goes.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think Ashleigh might need to do that for everybody.
Okay.
Hi, Crystal Rose. She's the one that gives us the photos of the flowers.
Oh, yeah. Crystal Rose, nice to meet you online.
The mic is on.
So Cynthia, I have most everyone unmuted, but I think for the other people who are left on mute, that has to do with like their own Zoom settings.
Okay.
So I'll just leave that be, and then they can connect themselves if they want to.
Cool.
And you can always use the chat box to make any comments or questions. I'll be monitoring that. So don't feel like you can't contribute in the conversation. Okay, I just want to reintroduce myself. My name is Ahran Lee. I am the assistant curator and facilitator and PLACE alumni from 2018. And we're just going to keep this chill and informal. I know I've been saying this a lot, but compliments are very welcomed. This is the time where the audience can engage with the artist. So if you have any questions about their process, their healing, the PLACE program, please feel free to bombard us with questions.
Well, I want to thank everyone who contributed their work. I've found it I always like to learn. You know, I pretty much don't join anything unless I feel there's something for me to learn. So, and I want to commend them for, you know, the bravery it takes to share your work with people that you don't even know sometimes. So thanks for that. And I just wanted to say that you saw one small frame of Pat's family. It's a lot larger. Just to let you know, when you count all of her relatives in the valley. The painting behind me is one of hers, and so I see is the one behind her. We have a little gallery, a little remote gallery going on here too. The one thing I wanted to ask, which was, both of my questions are somewhat general, so I think anyone could reply to them, but I wanted to direct it to Cynthia initially, is that when I see the practice that you take participants through, and as you describe it, some of it is still foreign to me in the sense that I haven't been through those practices myself. And I know just because of the kind of person that I am, that if I was part of your part of PLACE myself, if I was a participant, I'd probably be resisting.
Yes.
There'd probably be a part of me that's like, even though I'm there to participate and I've actually obviously bought into it, that I probably would be resisting a lot of it actually. And so I'm just kind of curious how that, does that present itself? Does the resistance?
Oh yeah.
It presents itself so much. We have names we call them the recalcitrant ones, because we have to tie humor around it to make sure we don't take it personally. Because what happens is I actually have a lesson plan around resistance, and Ahran can speak to this too, because she was one of those recalcitrant ones in 2018, and it's a way to avoid going down that road. Like if you put distractions in front of yourself, like one person might think what we're doing is stupid, but it's their way. It's a way of avoiding walking through that door and seeing what you're going to see. And the other thing is, we interview people ahead of time to really make sure they're ready. Like this This class was like the perfect storm. Every single one of them was ready to jump forward, but we always have just the tiniest bit of resistance, and sometimes we have big resistance. But it's more a sign of if you're ready to face the demons, I think.
I would, yeah, just to echo what Cynthia was saying, I think the human condition makes it really difficult for people to change unless we are put into a corner and forced to do it. And even then we want to get out of that corner and avoid. And even if that's a positive thing, we find ourselves not wanting to bend in a different way. And the way that we're trying to make healing happen is for the women to really look at what their resistance is really saying. Where did we get that voice? Who told us that we weren't ready? Who told us that we weren't worthy? And to really vulnerably reckon with that, with other people watching us do it in real time, is incredibly, it can be incredibly life-changing. Because usually these things are happening quietly inside of us, invisibly. So to have a room full of other eyes witness you going through that resistance can be supremely powerful and very destabilizing, because you have this one narrative of who you are, this one idea of what your identity is, and all of a sudden we're asking them to say, no, we don't want that anymore. We're not going to be a reflexive caretaker. We're not going to be a martyr. We're not going to be a victim. And instead, we're going to be empowered. We're going to say no and say yes to me first. And a lot of those things I just listed out, they're not little things. They're huge. They have huge implications. So where that usually begins is resistance. It's saying, "Ooh, I don't want to talk about hungry ghosts. I don't want to share with these people. I don't trust them." Or, "What are chakras? That's so woo-woo. That's not me. I don't believe in that stuff." It comes out in a myriad ways. So the fact that these women, with all their roles and identities, jobs and bills and childcare and work and teaching, at the end of the day, they show up and commit 3 to 4 hours. Initially, we did it in the studio, but now we're doing it over Zoom. For each woman, that includes Cynthia and I, to show up and say, you know what, the next couple of hours is for me. That in itself is a huge, huge act of protest and radical choice making for women. So all of that starts from that resistance, and every single one of us have that. So resistance, I would say.
Oh, go ahead.
I think
say Katie after you. Katie has something to say after you, so sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I'll wrap up. I would say resistance is probably one of the critical ingredients of healing journey, because it shows you why and what that is and how you can move forward with that. So I think that question is very good question, Michael. Yeah.
Sorry, Ahran, I didn't want to cut you off in the middle.
Oh, no, it's okay. No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add that going in, so I grew up Catholic, and so with all of that in my head, I've never grown up with chakras. I didn't grow up with I'm blanking on the name, but the altars as well, in a family home or an altar sort of wherever you are, really. And even little, super little things like when we're all together and someone, wants to go use the restroom, typically you wait for someone to finish talking before you get up to go use the restroom. Little things like that. I realized that I had to uncondition myself to actually do so. And I think for me, the little things that I'm so used to doing were the ones that I felt more resistant to. The chakra part for me, it was more of like an exercise to sort of think about something in a different way, more on an intellectual level opposed to the spirituality part first. I'm hoping that it'll eventually, maybe sink in a little bit further. But for me, when we were all together, Cynthia and Ahran were saying consistently, if you're tired, feel free to close your eyes while someone else is talking. And that's a very difficult thing to do because, when someone's speaking in the same conversation, typically it's pretty rude to start closing your eyes. And every now and then one of us would fall asleep. And it's no offense to the other person, but it's just this thought process of you take care of yourself first. Or if, you have to go use the restroom, that getting up in the middle of someone else's sentence is totally okay. And those are things that I've had to slowly learn and be okay with, or else, it was going to take forever for me to go use the restroom or get some water or go get some food. And those were things that I think the smaller things I had to figure out first before being able to even actually get to the more intellectual / spiritual aspects where I think place really kind of goes into.
Thank you, Katie. I think the biggest thing to know is that we always ask you what the resistance is. Is there fear tied into it? And what's underneath it? Because generally resistance has a root, and then that's the lesson. Like there's something speaking to you, and it's a nudge to move in that direction too. Because there's some layer you have to start addressing. So I know it's not a complete answer, Michael, but that's kind of where we are.
Well, and I want to also state that it's the old thing where like you think you have it, right? You think you understand and you solved it all. And then life has a way of just like making you laugh, because like right before this talk today, my whole family fell apart the last 24 hours. And it was all old patterning. And, I had opportunities to stop, and I did some, and then other ways I went back into my old patterning, and then other places it was all about. I think it's just really about recognition and acceptance that like this is who you are, and it's a continuum, and you're always going to be learning. And when you stop learning about where you're connected to everything and people and on this journey of life, that then it's over, right? And it's just so nice to have a place where you can bounce off of people and be accepted for all of that, and learning to accept those parts that struggle so much with putting yourself forward, especially right now too, with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jilly.
Yeah.
I also just wanted to mention that Norma's mother passed, I think it was just 3 weeks ago. So really honored that she's here and that she stuck it out with us. Thank you, Norma.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I have a question for the artist. I'm really curious how each of your creative artistic journeys, how has that informed your healing or perhaps understanding of yourself?
I'll go. I really didn't know that I had this terrible habit of self-neglect. I thought I did better at that. I thought I wasn't that bad at it, but I realized how bad I still was at it, of not taking care of myself. And I don't know if neglect's the right word, because it's not a chosen pattern, but it's just a pattern, because like my mother and my grandmother, the emphasis of our lives has been on work and getting money. And whatever time is left, you care for yourself. And just not a lot of time. So I never developed a really good, healthy pattern of taking care of myself. And if there wasn't enough time, then what I had to neglect was me. I couldn't neglect my boss or the agency I work for or the things that I was working towards at work. And so I'm starting to realize, no, I can't do those things. And I need to do those things. And it's a matter of not just of survival and thriving. If I want to have a life with some quality in it, I need to fight for myself and fight off everybody that wants to consume me, whether it's a person or a circumstance. I didn't know how much I need to shield myself and give myself permission and honor to take care of myself. So that was very revealing to me.
Thank you, Janet. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and art has this very powerful yet gentle way of creating space between you and your hungry ghost. So you start to realize, oh, this art making is a very spiritual act, because you're not only saying yes to yourself, you're saying yes to play. You're saying yes to a part of you that can't otherwise be awakened other than through the creative process. And I'm sure a lot of you can understand that the creative process is also very it's an alchemizing force. It can create healing, and it happens in subtle and profound ways. And what Cynthia has done is created a really safe space where we can all do that together and hold it together. And then you get to talk about those hard things with guests like yourselves. I mean, you can't just casually go into a conversation and talk about your trauma. You know, I mean, I don't know if you could, but I couldn't. So to have art as the prop to talk about it can really bring about inspiring, meaningful connection between strangers and maybe even close people that you weren't brave enough to share that deep stuff with. So Cynthia's vision is that use art to talk about real stuff and do it so powerfully and vulnerably.
Thank you, Ahran. Yeah, art's a great prop. Dara, I think you wanted to say, I saw you.
Yeah. No,
thank you, Ahran.
Thank you so much for the invite. And I did write something on the chat, but you know, we're all right now working in the ether, and we don't really have a choice in that. And yet, had I gone into the space of everyone celebrating their work, it would be a different thing. And it would be, you know, I'd be looking around at the environment and all, and instead I'm just so focused in on all of the soul shares that you did through the ether, which a different way of taking in the information, but it was so powerful. I'm just kind of, I'm so honored that you all shared in the way that you did. I'm so honored to be a witness to it all. And it, you know, I took notes the whole time too, just how it resonated with the hungry ghost that I haven't necessarily looked at. And I've heard Cynthia talk about her program for so many years now, and now it like all came together. So it's the energy of all of you just gave me so much courage to go inward and not to, like, you know, skip it with, you know, oh, I just with an intellectual thought of it, but the actual physical art making is how I can heal my hungry ghosts. So again, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you.
Wow.
Thank you, Dara.
Thank you so much.
Just to give you a reference, Dara and I met online, I think 3.5 years or maybe almost 4 years ago, and there's a Jungian psychologist in Mill Valley. Her name's Jean Shinoda Bolen, Japanese, Jean Shinoda. And she did an international conference, and they asked if anybody wanted to stay in touch after. And out of 250 women, there's 7 of us who've been talking to each other every other week.
7
for 4 years. Yeah, 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and these women they support me constantly and give me good feedback on so many things, but they're all over the world. And Crystal Rose is on here too. She's from Portland. Dara's from Austin, or my friend from Australia couldn't make it today, but she's going to come on the 15th. And they bring a whole different perspective, which is lovely. And they're all healers and community service providers.
We've heard so much about you guys. Thank you so much for showing up and supporting us. Emily wants to respond to my question that I had earlier. Oh, I'm sorry, Crystal, go ahead.
I just wanted to offer a few words of, I'm truly overwhelmed with gratitude to be a part of this experience. And it's such an honor because Cynthia has described her work to us, but by being present with you here together through the ether, I really can feel each of your journeys and the dance that goes between the beauty of your individual cultures and your ancestry, and transforming the trauma out of your systems and out of your cultures and out of your communities and out of your children and grandchildren and husbands and brothers into something that will be whole. And my impression, even before being in this situation with you, is that I've always felt this needs to go viral. It needs to be a prototype, I believe strongly, that can go into many, many communities. I would love to see each of you become a facilitator yourselves to take this template and to pass it from community to community, because this is truly deeply healing work. I support you, and I thank you all so very much for sharing your journeys, for the beautiful artwork, I call it heart work, that you have shared with us today.
Wow.
And I really am excited that I'll be able to join you again, I'm sure, on August 15th, which interestingly is the day of the Ascension of Mary, the Mother of Jesus, for those of you who may not have known about that. And it is a day of ascension and emancipation of the feminine, so there is a synchronicity.
The date of the Ascension of Mary.
Wow.
It also happened to be the day I left my abusive life for my own, claiming my own freedom, August 15th. So I'm very well acquainted with that date.
Wow.
Thank you,
Crystal.
Thank you so much.
No, August 15th.
Today the 19th.
I just wanted to add in around how art, relationship with art and the world. And I think I work with kids, the Boys and Girls Club, and it's interesting when you hear young kids at a very young age say that they are not creative. And so somehow that starts getting beaten out of us at a very young age, that certain people are creative, certain people are artistic. And I'm not to downplay that, but I feel for me, place, when you bring this work back to people, like a lot of us are not formally trained artists, but we are creative, we have something to say. And so I think it's, one thing I'm very committed to is like accessibility to creativity, to tapping into people's creativity. And like I was asking my sister, like, what does she think about this? And she really shared her appreciations. But she did say that all the people on there are very smart, and like, that's true. But so are we. And so are you. And so I think like this is not anything, we're special, but this work is not special. It has to be available to everybody. The healing with the killing of the killings of the police and the pandemic and all the things that are happening, George Floyd and our ancestor, that we lost, and all those others, we just have to find a way to make this healing and creativity very accessible, that it's something that we need to elevate and bring forward because it's going to be so needed.
Thank you, Paz. And what Paz is saying, there's a few of us, we're very grassroots. There's only a few of us doing the work, but we're always open for more. But we know that I'm starting to come up with ways, and the pandemic kind of pushed it forward, of ways to offer bits and pieces of place so that it's available for anybody, men, women, non-binary, and even youth. So there's certain things we could break up the program up into pieces. We'll still want to hold this big one because we know it works, but to have smaller ones down the road, but we need help to make that happen. So Norma, I'm sorry, did I cut you off? You want to say something?
No, just Emily. Yeah. Okay, go
sorry.
ahead.
Emily's next. Sorry, Emily.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to answer Ahran's question about how has our artistic process evolved or been affected by this program or this entire journey. And for me, I realized that I had always been making art since I was a child. It just was never, like Paz was saying, my creativity was never recognized or celebrated, even though to me, I felt like that was the core of who I was. My brain was always celebrated. I was always told, I was always celebrated for being smart, for excelling in school. But those things didn't actually matter that much to me, as much as the things that I wanted to make. And I think over the years, because that part of me had always been ignored as a child, it kind of warped my idea of what art is, or what art that I should make to be recognized is. And so I became a lot more focused on it being good, whatever that means. And over this process, it's really taking me from like making art that might look pretty to making art that is important to me and that just goes with whatever is coming out of me. And when I do that, to me, it's beautiful and it's meaningful. And so the things that I've made during this program have become like talismans to me. And I keep them up all over my apartment because, you know, I look at them every single day and it gives me strength. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm surrounded by my own, like the things that I have manifested are physically surrounding me and it's mine. And it's a reminder of that. And one of the slides that was shown earlier was my love letter to myself collage. That's something that I didn't think would be so important, but it ended up actually being the breakthrough moment during this whole process for me. I look at that every day, and the intuitive collage is something I always look at every day. I wanted to really quickly just hold it up and show you because it ended up becoming, it kind of looks like this. And
yes,
if you see, a lot of the elements in it turned out to become part of my final piece.
Yes.
With the glittering light going into the water, with, you know, which to me represented intuition and your personal wisdom that is coming down into your space and things like that. And the chakra cards, I also felt were at first an intellectual process, like something interesting to learn about. And the way that I found my way in was actually not through the body at first, but through the colors and what the colors represented. I was very drawn to the colors of the chakras, and immediately that connection of this color represents this chakra, which represents this, like that made immediate sense to me for some reason. Like that was my sensibility. So those things, I didn't actually finish making the chakra cards. And before I would have beat myself up over that, like this was an assignment, you didn't do it, you know? But now I'm like, who cares if I didn't do it? I didn't do it. But the ones that I did do are very important to me and are also talismans. Like this one is for the heart chakra. And I keep that up and I look at that every day. And this one for the throat chakra, which
I love that one.
This one is sort of kind of like, you know, like yeah, like I'm here, you know. And this one was really important to me too. And I think that that's what art is for me now, is something that is not just something to display or look at, but something that is powerful, that comes from me. And that's the kind of art that I'm drawn to when I look at other people's art too. So like everything that everyone here has made is beautiful and powerful and means something to me too.
Thank you, Emily. Now I just want to interject one thing and we'll go to Norma. And that is, again, Michael, talking about resistance. We never make anybody finish their work. And the interesting is because we stay in touch over the years, eventually they get around to it and they go, oh my God, that's what Ahran did. Like she didn't do her love letter, right, until much later. And now she will jump around on the roofs and tell you how important that is, that she engaged in it. So we give you the seeds and then you do it in your own time when you're ready.
Right, and because the healing process is a very non-linear, circuitous journey, we don't force a binary way of thinking, like success or failure, or finished or not finished. We just allow women to see where they are, and we don't judge whether that's complete or incomplete. It's just where you are. And the magic of place is that these projects that we don't finish, for some reason, later down the road, you come back to it, and then now you have room to finish it then. So it kind of becomes these little seeds, and we're planting seeds. That's what we're doing. So that's what Emily is speaking to in terms of the perfectionism and all of that.
I think Norma and then Reyna after that, right? Or Nestor after
Norma.
that. So go ahead,
Yeah.
Norma, and then Nestor.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Cynthia and Ahran. Just wanted to come a little bit. So sorry, just my English is not really good. I'm trying so hard.
Okay.
So I wanted to back a little bit about what Miss Sarah and Crystal say about refuse, about when I found play for her. I'm refused. When I come and I learn about my chakra, I say, it's not for me, it's not me, blah, bye-bye. So, and it's coming and coming again for me and again, and I say, wait a minute, is something wrong with me, or is something wrong with the chakras? And I try to find my balance. See, that's what I'm talking about, my balance, because I'm refused so hard. Like Katie said, I was, and my family, I was the different little girl. Like I remember when I have 6 years and a half, I'm talk and I say, no, that's not good. And I'm realized now because I'm like 50 years older, and I say, hey, wait a minute, how this little girl can tell to the adults this? They wanted to quiet my mouth, and it's an expression. They don't want it to leave it to me, like, say it, quiet, don't say it, don't close your eyes, don't make anything wrong, just go and follow whatever they did it before. Either way, that's bad or that's not good. And it was so hard for me to find me. It's just what Ahran say. I refused the first time to talk with my little girl. That's what I was crying, because this is my first time I tried to talk with her, because I don't want to hurt her. I remember with Pat, when I talked with Pat, it's just, I'm not ready the last time. And this time I'm go a little over for her. My mom passed away, like what Cynthia say, and I'm feeling like, okay, I'm free. The people who love more, I love more. It's just in my balance, it's my heart is just my family, children's husband, my mom, and the other one. She passed away, and finally say, okay, that's a matter. Just, I'm still rocking everything and say, no. Finally, I'm free. And it's so hard to be you 100%, wherever you go, because sometimes the people or the society, like me, I'm Latino, I'm woman, I'm come from Mexico, I'm learning my second language, English. It's not perfect, and I'm trying, when I go someplace and I'm trying to speak or talk, just people look at me and say, I'm sorry, I don't understand to you. And I say, what? So I can explain to you in Spanish, or either way, they say, I'm sorry. So, it's just like fight it with the people, but that's not the people. That's what I'm learning from Cynthia. It's not the people, ancestor. It's the people back to then. Don't take special, like the people, don't take serious. It's over you. It's over a lot around then. And sometimes it's just, okay, I have to look my chakras. I have to look everything. And finally, I'm accepting how I am. And God, just the universe and God sent to me everything around me. And it's a lot of happening now for me, like now the pandemic. It's a lot of good things. And I say, oh my God, it's a lucky or it's something for me. And this is what I talk with what I say, Pat. I talk with a lot of with my children. My big boys say, no, it's not like casualty. It's you because you work so hard. And I say, really? I don't think so. I'm only open my mouth, but it's true. It's just when you make a lot of good energy in your body, a lot of like a lot of choices good over around you, you get the balance because you can see, oh no, that side, no, just be in balance, be good for the future and for the past and forever ever. And thank you for being here and thank you for listening to me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Norma.
Thank you.
Oh, and I wanted to show that one. We did it, that one. I did it before, and I always be with me, just all the time to hold it. It just
that's one of the aspiration projects. We call it Sowing Your Aspirations.
Yeah.
Sowing SEW.
Yeah, and that is love, and I make that one because I'm always make a lot of noise all the time.
Thank you, Norma. Nestor.
It's interesting, you know, like the hungry ghost, the shadow. What you resist is where you want to go. And I didn't have my video on, and I was crying.
Mm. Oh.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
I felt really vulnerable, and I was very impacted, especially with Emily and the perfectionism, and Janet, childhood, Norma with family, and Ling with ancestors, and what happened to her, and you know, because I saw the way how hard she worked and how not hard, but she actually really had a great time, you know, doing her altar and the mosh posh, and she's amazing with whatever she does. She does so great. I mean, even the crochet. It's the first time, you know, and then makes an amazing hat for me and scarves, and then the gardening, you know, like, and then she did this. I'm like, what? First time? Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. But you know, I took clinical psychology in San Francisco State. That was my major, and minored in holistic health. It took me about 7.5 years to graduate. And I'll tell you the reason why. It's because I was really looking for how to understand my heart and my mind and how I actually related to people, especially my family. And I was constantly searching. And as I attended this today, I realized this is what I was actually looking for. And at that 7.5 years, within 2 weeks, I actually traveled with Noam, India, and to Egypt and Nepal and everywhere else, looking to understand, you know, actually how to connect and to have this kind of impact. And I couldn't believe that I had to travel. Because it was a lot of suffering of not understanding of how to relate and what was happening, and I'm telling you that you know, studying Freud and Carl Jung and, you know, Piaget and all of those, the Western psychology and mentality was just I feel now that it was just based on research, and my story and my experience it's not that research.
Right.
You did not talk to my heart. I mean, and when Emily and Janet and Norma and Ling were talking, I I felt like a human being, not like a case, not like a book. And so that's why I felt so so relieved that this is going to be offered not just to women, to men as well, because we definitely need it. I need it, you know. Or like I said, it's so human. I felt like it was. I mean, like I couldn't believe that you know, when Emily was talking about perfectionism and the shame and all of that, I really cried hard, and I couldn't help it. That's the thing. It's like, you know, I just did. It wasn't conceptual or anything, but I felt her heart and pain, and I really related to that. And like I said, this is what I was looking for in that 7.5 years. And it made me travel around the world. Even like I had to study meditation and work with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And I'm actually doing healing, you know, for, you know, the 17th Karmapa and all of this, yeah, as his personal healer, you know, and do His Holiness as well. But it was for me to understand this, me, my resistance,
right,
my story, what happened with my family, like that, all that thing about what, you know, like Janet was talking about, missing the childhood and all of that. It's like that freedom that she sees, you know. It's like I was, time flew by. I was so engaged. I thought I was just, you know, trying to support my dear wife, and I didn't realize that I was going to be engaged in this and like really emotionally affected. But also not just emotionally, but I mean, inner transformation was happening. That was, and as I'm talking right now.
Well, Nestor, we're going to need to talk to you down the road, because when Reyna actually said that you had mentioned to her that you wish there was something like this for men, and you know, we can't design it. We need men to help us design it, and we need to talk.
I
actually wanted to volunteer Noam as well, because I know he's my dear, very best friend, and he's the person that I trust in this world. I just want to let everybody know that he is such a precious human being for me, because I feel like he is somebody that's really trying to be a very good human being, and he is a role model for me. So
thank you.
Really be amazing.
Thank you for volunteering him.
Sorry, buddy.
No, but,
I just love you that much, you know.
I'm telling you that this is such a blessing for us, because we needed the angels to show up, and you just expressed yourself as an angel, and you just volunteered Norma as another angel. So, and then Cris, my partner here, is probably on the same wavelength as you guys. He's Puerto Rican, so his country is still colonized by us. So he's in the depths of it. So this is exciting. Thank you. And we will talk.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Nestor, for being so open.
I'm compelled. I did not, I'm talking from my heart. And that's when I was studying that clinical psychology, I was talking from my head.
Yeah.
Not like this. Not like this. This is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It never made me feel like I had to travel, because I never felt like I actually understood psychology or the emotional or human, how to be a human being. And that's what I was seeking, you know, that freedom, that what's going on with the shame and all of this.
Yeah.
And Emily's thing was this, was like, oh, I mean, I felt like she was talking about me.
She was.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Emily.
Yeah.
And Janet, thank you so much. Amazing.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
powerful and impactful.
Wow. This is fantastic. Thank you so much, Nestor. Everybody take a deep breath, by the way. We're actually at our time. I don't know if anybody else wants to say.
Ashleigh, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I would. I just, as a former participant, one, I wanted to share the fact that for the women that were in my cohort in 2018, Paz, Norma, Julie, to see the way that your projects from our cohort and how they evolved into these next iterations, I thought was just really powerful. And it was really neat to kind of see, like, even the seeds that had been planted in the 2018 place and how they're like growing into this really fruitful healing kind of journey for you. I thought that was really neat. And for the other women in the group that were new to place for 2020, I really want to give you all amazing props. Not only were you doing really difficult work that you know, Ahran and I struggled with, and you know, the other women that are in this cohort that were in the 2018 cohort, we all kind of had these moments where we got stuck in certain places because it was things that we were working through. And you were all able to do that also through a pandemic. And so I really want to just share like that strength. It really came through, and I just want to commend you all so much for the amazing, powerful work that you did. Your efforts are really shining through. So I just want to commend you for that. And thank you so much for letting me witness the work that you went through. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ashleigh, very much.
Love you, Ashleigh.
Yeah.
Hi, Jasmine. Hello.
Oh, yay, Jasmine.
Hi. I'm Jasmine. Hi.
Can I introduce you?
I have not actually.
I want to introduce you. So Jasmine is the daughter of one of my collectors, and she used to come to my studio when she was little. And I haven't seen her father very much. I just got back in touch with him recently, and he told her to call me because she's an amazing painter. She started painting. And she's been helping me with this difficult website I've been trying to put together. She just jumped in, and we haven't, she's in LA. So I'm so glad you're on this call, by the way. So go ahead, Jasmine.
Thank you. So I've been hearing about this program for a while, I guess, since Cynthia and I started talking and working together. And he was describing it, and it sounded amazing, but I could not have imagined how alive these projects are. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to partake in this experience. I really could not have imagined how amazing these projects were pieces. And I think you all created amazing work. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you for allowing me to share in this. That's it.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Hi, I want to just say a few words, if I may. I just want to thank everybody for, I want to thank Reyna for inviting me and for you all to allow me to be as an outsider. I was so moved and so impressed by, first of all, the courage of people to be doing such deep, sensitive work and then showing it to strangers. And it's very, I take it very seriously. It's very sacred, and I'm moved and honored and holding it in that way. And for doing this work and for the beauty of the process and of the beauty of what people produced and for what and where people are taking it. It's really inspiring, very moving. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Noam.
Can I just wanted to
Yay, Sherry.
say a little something to thank all you participants. It's really amazing. I know it's
Sherry, you should say who you are.
Yeah, I'm Sherry Ride-War, and I'm on I'm part of Asian American Women Artists Association. So I did place in the first iteration at the Dian when we were artists in residence, but this has come way farther. But you know, and I know how hard it is to speak in front of people, and it's interesting seeing this on Zoom because I didn't know, in a way, like we're in the comfort of our own home, you know, and so I don't know, in a way it's kind of safer than having to be in front of the audience. But but I really appreciate all your work, and that now I forgot what I was going to say about that. But that sometimes, yeah, what's interesting is sometimes that it's easier in a way to tell people that you don't know, strangers, and I think that it's even harder, and you're very brave to share this with your, you know, people who are very close to you in your family, and that's a real, yeah, I respect you all for being able to do that. It's pretty wonderful to see. And thank you other participants for sharing. That's like super powerful. Yeah, you're sharing. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Sherry. I need to let you guys know that Sherry and I have worked together for probably close to 20 years at least, with Asian American Women Artists Association. And now they are the fiscal sponsors for Place of Her Own. And Sherry and I have grown gray together, running organizations. But she, thank God, she understands budget, even though that's not her thing, but she has made it she takes care of the finances and the budget. And whenever I write a grant, Sherry was the one that always made sure that all the dots were taught and the T's were crossed, because I think like this and I need help funneling things, and Sherry's always been there for us. So Place owes her a great debt, actually, for everything, yeah, for our existence. Thanks. Really, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was on mute earlier because there was some lots of some construction stuff going on and noise.
She's
I didn't want to share.
She's a printmaking master and an etching. She does etching and builds things, and her work is pretty stunning, actually. And she works on internment camp issues. And you're part of the 5 Sensei daughters?
Sensei granddaughters.
Senseis.
Yeah.
So they actually went. Do you want to just give a couple of sentences on that?
Really quickly about, you know, because our families, we're granddaughters that were incarcerated by our families during World War II because of Japanese American ancestry. And so we're just been doing a little bit of art. I don't do a whole lot of art related to that, but we decided to go on one of the pilgrimages that they do every year. And it's just been a real journey for me because I went to learn about how to speak up and tell our stories from the other participants. And it's been, and then one of them made a video. So now we have this film and we're sharing. So it's been a really interesting journey, kind of, you know, similar to Place, how it just took me places that I didn't expect to go. It's been super rewarding.
Thank you, Sherry.
I think Jillian wants to.
I want to give a shout out to you as well, because they actually went down to the border in protesting of all the migrants in cages and
the children.
I want to say
yeah.
Actually, I also wanted to say, like, you know, for participating in Place a few times and not knowing why I was doing some of the stuff that came up, right? Because you're dealing with resistance. And what I found is now I have this beautiful body of work of trees that has to do with my spinal cord and self-portraits, which have to do with going back to myself, because I felt like even before I came here, I wasn't allowed to be me due to just my genealogy. So I just want to give a shout out that I believe that if you continue making art, anybody in the classroom, or if you consider taking the program, that this is just going to lead to a continuum of creativity. And I want to just say thanks so much to Cynthia for doing this. So thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Ahran and Cris.
Thank you. We almost have to end because we're coming, but I wanted to give a shout out to Michael War, who's actually Pat's husband. And Michael is a major writer in his own right. And do you want to just say a little bit about, and you might want to follow Michael on social media, Sherry on social media, and Marianne Owens, we can't see her face, but she's a pretty fabulous photographer as well. But Michael, do you want to say a few words about what he just did some poetry readings online too. Really powerful though. You're on mute.
Yeah,
Can we unmute?
I just have to find it. Thank you so much for the shout out. There's so much going on today. I was just responding to a solidarity in Japantown today, which is not far from where we live, with Black Lives Matter. And I was just pointing out to the people who were there that a poem that I wrote called "To Your Assailant," your assailant who attacks us all. It's a poem that is about the attacks on Asian people around the world because of the COVID-19, and Trump has actually been kind of encouraging that with his rhetoric. That poem was read today in English and Chinese in Chinatown. At the Black Lives Matter in Solidarity Art Action Day there. So, you know, there is something really different going on right now, and it's really critical. And that's one of the things I see about this, what we've been doing today, is all of these different voices, people from different backgrounds, kind of struggling and finding a way to answer the same question, the same questions. And so I'm glad that my wife and partner, Patricia Zamora, pulled me into this. As usual, just things start, it's just a way to support, and then you find yourself more engaged, as has been said by others today. So I was glad to be here and really appreciate what was shared.
Thank you, Michael. Michael helps us post on social media too when we're having shows, and that's a rare thing, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Should we close this out, Ahran?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, one more thing I have to say, his face isn't showing, but Jonathan Farrell has been writing articles on Place, AWA, on my artwork for probably 30 years, and we've actually never met in person, but he's another person to follow. I don't know if he has a blog up now, but he just writes online. So I wanted to give a shout out to Jonathan. Thank you.
Real quickly, we should.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, could I just say thank you again for Cynthia, for having this vision and for offering this kind of program.
Thank you, Nestor. You know what it is? It's me paying attention to spirit, because it's not me doing it. I just keep trying to heal myself so that I get out of the way and I can just channel what's coming through. And I really feel that all of you that are on this call today, we were all meant to be together. So we may be co-creating together as we go forward. This is not just you attending a thing. This is being led by a higher consciousness, I believe. So thank you, Nestor, and we will be in touch. So I wanted to, thank you. I wanted to close this out by dedicating what we just did to Diana Liu, who was a volunteer extraordinaire. She's been helping me again like 20 years. My own personal art practice, A Place of Her Own, Asian American Women Artists Association. She left her partner behind, Ed, who is really struggling. So I just wanted to dedicate this to her. And then to my mom, who passed a year and a half ago. She was an artist her whole life. She had a really tough, finding out her upbringing made me the feminist I am today, because it just made me furious. I didn't know. But she was a volunteer also. She was a donor for Place, and she constantly advised us. And if you look at the picture, there's this glowing little kind of branch in the background. That's her piece.
and that's called The Swing. And it took her years to figure out what a place of her own was. And it was the swing when we were little growing up. So anyway, go ahead, Ahran. Next slide. So I don't know if you can see this because there's a lot of, there might be, you can actually move people's faces out of the way. But we're working on becoming much more bold in asking for donations. I know this is a tough time for everybody right now, but just kind of keep this in your background when things go back to normal, when you can afford to give something. It's just grassroots. We work a lot of hours for free, but you know, it's not terribly sustainable. Or if you have any ideas for us of where to go raise money, I could sure use help. We've been mostly hovering around in the art sector, which is very little funding, and very little funding for, they want artists who have experience, but we don't make that differentiation. It's more who needs the program. So anyway, Ahran made this slide. You could snap it with your phone so you have it. And we're going to follow up with all of you and just send you kind of a little summary of what just happened. We also are putting together the art statements with some photos so that you can go back and read at your leisure. And we'll also include information about a place of our own and how to donate or give us suggestions of any kind or volunteer too. So that being said, Ahran, do you have any other things? Closing?
If you have money, give it to us now too. You don't have to wait till COVID is over. If y'all have deep pockets, we're ready to receive. So just wanted to make that note. But thank you so much, Cynthia, for having created place so that all of us can benefit, because each one of us here are going to create ripple effects in our communities, and it's happening now and it will continue to happen. So when we heal ourselves, we're healing the community, and that's what you've created for us. So thank you so much, Cynthia.
You're very welcome, you guys. Yeah. So thank you for all that you guys are doing every day, and carry out with you the energy that you felt from this. And whenever you're getting self-doubt or you're running up against the wall, because there are some really ridiculous things happening now, remember to come back inside yourself, because you have to keep your body strong to fight the fight, if that's what your cause is. And you've got to take care of yourself more. So everybody, why don't you take a deep breath and just close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath, maybe even stretch your arms out if you have room. And I'm just gonna hit the chime 3 times. So that was the first one. Here's the second one. Just kind of scan your body and allow it to feel cared for. And here's the third one. Just take a deep breath in and feel the care in the room and the epiphanies and the connection to your higher consciousness. And just allow yourself to live with that even for a few more minutes, if not the rest of the day. And believe that ease is coming for you, that there's ease in all of this. So come back into the room.